Time to dust it off. Well, I'm back. I've got full strength of both shoulders now, all healed up, and I'm ready to build this thing. Part 6. Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be cool. We're about to fire this motor up one of these days, and I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to get all the little miscellaneous things done here, and I'll show you what I've been up to. So the first thing I had to do was deal with this front differential. I hadn't gone through it yet, and so I knew I had to deal with the knuckles. I'm doing crossover steering on it. As you see here, I put a drop pitman arm this way, the other one went out this way, and it went back to the knuckle on that side. Now it's going to cross over and go to this knuckle. So I had to pull that apart, and when I did, I noticed the inside of these tubes were about half full of mud and dirt and grit. And you know, there's an inner axle seal right in here that keeps all that stuff from getting into the differential, but when that fills up, it can get past in there and it can really ruin those seals. And I already had to put new ball joints in the knuckles and do all that kind of stuff, and I already have it torn down this far, so why skip that step? So I dropped the differential out, inspected the bearings, they're in perfect shape, everything's good there. And I'm really glad I did, because this thing was filthy. I still got to wipe it out a little bit here. I didn't finish it quite yet, but now I can put new inner seals in there, and I know it's not going to leak, because if those leak, all the stuff that you put on the outside, the spindles, the brakes, the axle shafts, the locking hubs, all that has to come off in order to pull that out. Then you got to pull this differential out again to replace them. Now's the time. So I did it. The seals are getting really rare. There's a national back order on them, but I did find them. You can buy seals for these at local auto parts stores, but they're crappy, man. They're terrible design. You really need that bell design that keeps the water from getting up into the seal. And they just have a basic little rubber snout on that. So when you shove that axle in there, you've got nothing that's going to drive it up into position. And I can just tell that seal is not going to last 6 months. Whoever designed that doesn't know anything about what they're doing. So anyway, I found them. They'll be here, I think, Monday, maybe tomorrow. Once I get those, that'll be great. So I'm on my way over to my friend Jeremy's place at Idaho Sandblasting. He's the one that's been doing all the media blasting on this project. He got my radiator support done this morning. So that's really cool. I need that to hook up the radiator to the motor and get everything connected properly, so when I fire it up the first time, I don't blow it up. So there we have it. Yoo-hoo! There's the man himself. He does great work, man. There's my truck bed right over there. Okay, so I got the new knuckles on here. I got the high steer arm on. New ball joints, everything's torqued to spec. I'm ready to put the brake calipers and the spindles and the axles back in, and very happy with it. As I said, I just cut those old studs off and left them in there and smoothed it out. That's fine. I did take some leaves out of the springs, and hopefully that'll really help soften it up. I can always put them back in if I want to. I didn't cut anything. So there we have it. Tomorrow I'll get these all cleaned up, get some pour 15 on those, and then get everything put back together, and she'll be back on all fours. Oh yeah, that's a big deal getting this front end done. Oh, and I did remake these. I had them an inch longer. I had raised it 2 inches. I brought it back to 1, redrew them in the computer and cut them out, changed them a little bit, added some style to them a little. And then I added a 1 inch longer shackle that I cut out on the table as well. So the reason I did that is that I wanted the front end just a little bit higher, because I took some leaves out of here. But if you add to the front, you tip the front end over and you lose your caster. If I do them both at the same time and bringing them down, I maintain the factory caster. It just gives me a little bit of a lift, about a 1 inch lift. I really don't want this thing to ride like a buck wagon, so I'm gonna hope for the best here on this. It should ride pretty good once she gets broken in. So this outer axle shaft on the long side has been all ground on. It was all foobarred. Look at it. Somebody just took the grinder to it. The splines are all screwed up. No wonder I couldn't get the hub out. I didn't even notice this until just now. Now I'm ready to put it all back together, and this is the last one I was doing. I got to change this U-joint and get a new axle shaft, for crying out loud. Good morning. So I thought it was going to be really difficult to find an axle shaft. I really did. I called around, I looked online, I found them online for $140, $150. And then I thought, oh, John Gilman. So I called him, I messaged him, and he had 2 of them. $20 a piece he sold them to me for, so that's great. I got a spare. I don't have to order anything. I can get right down to business. I just got to go get a U-joint and get it swapped out. But that's progress. That's a big deal. He had these 2 outer shafts. One of them has a 3rd snap ring, but they're the right length, right dimensions. I only need these. So I'll clean those up and get the rusty cruds off of them. They're not terrible. They look worse than they really are. That one looks a little worse for wear. I'll clean it up. Okay, I got it cleaned up pretty good. I'm going to run it over to 6 States, and they're going to put a new U-joint in it for me. So I'm on my way over to 6 States now this morning. I'm going to have them change out the axle shaft U-joints. I used to have all the stuff. I do have the stuff somewhere to do it, but I don't want to dig it all out from my shop. So I will just have them do it, and they said they could do it while they wait. Awesome. By the way, I didn't have a whole lot of time to talk to Jeremy over at the Sandblaster. He was really busy, so I just grabbed that bulkhead or that radiator support and took it. So here we go. Got all these done. Beautiful, beautiful. Got the brake brackets and shield all cleaned up. Everything's ready to go back together now. Okay, that's about it for this episode. I got the front end all back together. I'll clean up the diff cover and throw that on in a few minutes. But I got everything done here that I wanted to get done. Front axle's all rebuilt and new seals, bearings, races. Got the brake lines all put on here. And I threw the old tie rod back on just so I can check the toe in. I did check it. It's about 1/8 of an inch toe in, so it's real close. I can use that as a guide to make my new one, which is going to be made out of 1.5 inch quarter wall, heavy duty with 1-ton tie rod ends. So anyway, that's pretty cool. I got my new hubs on. I'll paint the actual hub itself a little later. I just kind of ran out of gumption. I've been cleaning like crazy though. I got this all cleaned up in here. I got all my stuff picked up and reorganized and very happy with it. I got all my accessories and electrical connectors and, self-tappers and air conditioning fittings and all that stuff and all the miscellaneous hardware here. And this is full of Ford parts. I got tons of stuff for this truck, man. New lights, new emblems all wrapped up there so they don't get all scratched up. Some older hardware stuff, newer hardware stuff. And windshield wipers, window regulators, various little pieces I'll get out of there when it's time to paint them. Miscellaneous stuff here, old handles and custom. I don't know if I'm going to put this back on there. It's kind of in a weird spot. The old heater control, which is in really nice shape actually. I think quite nice. But I'm sure I'm going to be putting vintage air in this. I just don't want to deal with that older stuff, and it gets hot here. And I got all my fuel fittings, all the AN fittings. I'll be putting all those on. The fuel regulator for the Holley Sniper. Here's the 10 micron inline fuel filter. And the tie rod ends, the clutch master. O2 sensor kit for the Holley stuff. You just got to stay down there now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this way so I don't have to fight that. Oh, and here's the bracket that goes under the dash for the clutch master to give it more support. And here's some Holley Sniper stuff, lenses, door handles, mirror, all kinds of stuff in there. Spark plug wires, some more body mounts for the bed, and that goes on. You just go right down in there now. It's always got to be too much stuff. And I've got all new rubber for the whole thing, all the way around. Oh, I do have parking brake cables. I didn't realize I had those. I'll have to see what all I got here. Shifter boots, door weather stripping, all of it. I got all of it for the whole truck. Here's my brand new steering column, all ready to go from DR Machine and Fab. So yeah, I'm very happy with the progress. I'm going to take a couple leaves out of the back now, maybe one, because it really makes a difference. I put in a cross member here. I hole saw it through here. I'm going to weld this up nice on both sides, and then my shock mounts will come off of this because I have longer shocks. I've got to, and I moved the axle forward 2 inches to accommodate the 67 to 72 bed, which is a little bit shorter. And so that'll be good. I'll make my shock mounts. It'll be real easy. I am going to still try to use these King shocks. I really want to use them. I mean, I've got them. You know, they're brand new. Only had them on our other rig for a very short time. And so I can get the shocks done. I'm going to run fuel lines, like I said. I've got all that stuff here. I'll start rounding. I really want to pull the body off to do that. It makes it so much easier. Not really necessary, but makes it nice. And I got that bent back in shape so that I can put the factory stereo bezel back in there. Those are still frowning down on me. I hate it when people put holes in stuff like that. You know how much time it takes to fix that properly? Ugh. Here, Timmy, here's a screwdriver. Go to town. So there we go. Not bad. Feeling good. Feeling good to get back into it. I'm happy to get my shop reorganized and cleaned up. You know, man, you get going so much, you can't hardly keep up. Now this over here is a Fright still. Motorcycles and a Jeep that's still on my plate to fix. Oh, but this is what I want to work on right now. So there we go, kids. Part 6 in the books. And there it is. Brand new steering wheel. I love it, man. That's nice. That'll be super awesome.